Congressman Pete Hoekstra will be with us at Right Nation 2010 at the Sears Center on Saturday. Sandra Breitbart, Dick Armey, I'm going to be there. Lots of other folks, including Congressman Hoekstra. And we welcome him from Western Michigan. Good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning.
Well, for starters, let's talk about the big story of the day, the Christine O'Donnell win in Delaware. I want to get to tax cuts because I want to talk with you about the Bush tax cuts. But just your initial thoughts on this stunning come-from-behind victory.
I was going to say, you just took the word right out of my mouth. It's a stunning upset. I got elected to Congress in the same year that Mike Castle did. Clearly, he's more of a moderate Republican than I am. I thought that Delaware would have been a more moderate state. I mean, hey, this is a guy that's been elected statewide in Delaware 12 times. And so this is a stunning upset. It just shows that there have been lots of surprises this year. The surprises are not over, and there'll be more on Election Day.
Well, there's a lot of anger from voters out there, and it seems as though, as opposed to simply saying we want the Democrats out and the Republicans in, they're wanting to do a greater cleanup of a lot of Washington.
I think that's exactly right. They want to do exactly what they're supposed to do, which is hold people who are in Congress, who have the title of congressman or have the title of senator or governor or whatever. They're holding people accountable. People who have not been involved in politics are getting involved in politics. I think it's healthy for the process. And I think that the results that we will see on November 3 will, for those of us that have more of a conservative bent, we're going to be excited by the results that come out on November 2.
And so should everyone now kind of rally around and go, well, primary's the primary. You can slug it out as long as you want and as hard as you want before the primary, but once it happens, then you got to rally around the candidate.
I would think so. I mean, O'Donnell, there's no indications at all that she's out of the mainstream of Republican ideals and Republican philosophy. You had a moderate Republican running against a conservative Republican. The conservative Republican won. And she would have been expected to endorse and rally around Mike Castle if Mike Castle had won. And so, sure, I mean, this is not a Republican candidate that you look at and say, this is a fringe candidate, and it was a fluke that she won. She's a mainstream Republican candidate. She's on the right. Mike was more on the left. She won, and sure, the Republican Party should rally around her. I think at least the indications, the reporting has been that the National Republican Senate Committee has already said that they're not going to put any money into the race. Wow, what a bad decision that is, and what a bad decision that sends to Republicans, conservatives, and independents around the country. That says, the National Republican Senate Committee now perhaps saying, if you don't pick the right candidate, we will pick the right candidate as to who's going to get the financial resources. I think the Senate committee is going to come around. I think they will support her. I think that I don't know Delaware politics all that well, but I wouldn't sell her short. She pulled a great upset on primary day. There's no reason why she can't carry that momentum forward on the general election day.
Yeah, when you talk about the party saying, as she was making her speech last night, declaring victory, the party had already come out and it said, well, we're not going to support her with any sort of money. And I thought to myself, okay, I was being lambasted by people here on the radio because I said maybe Mike Castle's the guy to go for because you want to be in the majority. You want to have conservatives in leadership positions again in the majority. But I wouldn't go so far as to say, forget it, I'm not going to support her. And I just wonder if that ends up doing more damage nationwide, because these hardcore conservatives who are very passionate and are really working hard are going, well, they're basically telling us, you do what we tell you to do, otherwise we're going to leave.
No, that is exactly right. And sure, I think that Mike Castle would have probably been the stronger, at least initially would have been the stronger candidate in Delaware in a conventional year in conventional politics. But what we are learning is 2010 is not a conventional year. You've got our Senate candidates in Kentucky, in Florida, in Utah, in Colorado. A lot of surprising things have happened in primaries, and it's like, maybe the party needs to recognize that there's a bigger opportunity here outside of conventional wisdom, and we just got to take our blinders off and take a look at where the American people really are. They are mad about the stimulus plan. They are mad about deficit spending. They are mad about health care. They are mad about the federal government taking over K through 12 education. You know, they want the 10th Amendment enforced, and it's kind of like, you know, if the Republican Party doesn't do it, some other political party or some other political movement will. And you know, let's take the blinders off. Let's be open to what's happening with the American public right now.
Well, let's talk about these Bush tax cuts. Talking with Congressman Pete Hoekstra of Western Michigan here on WLS. I like to refer to them as the Obama tax increases, because if they're allowed to expire, that's exactly what they're going to be. Are you, you obviously hear more than we do. Are you hearing even from Democrats who are saying, gee, this might be a problem. I think we should actually go ahead and extend all of these tax cuts?
Hey, with unemployment at 9.6% unemployment, well into double digits in states in the Midwest and those types of things. Democrats who are going to be talking about letting the Bush-era tax policies expire, they're getting fewer and fewer and fewer. And they're going so far now as starting to, saying, well, hey, we've got to vote for the Obama tax cuts. They're changing the name of the tax cuts that they've demonized now for 8 years.
Yeah, that's some revisionist history, isn't it?
Now they're starting to call them the Obama tax cuts, and that we really need to extend them. No, I mean, hey, they're looking at what's happening on the landscape. They're looking at what's happening in the economy. There's no signs at all that the economy is going to come back very strong, even in 2011 and 2012. And they see the tsunami that's coming at them on November 2. So sure, I think there's a number of Democrats, especially in the House, that would be more than willing to vote for an extension of the Bush tax cuts, including the death tax. Because that's set to go way back up, extending those for another 2 or 3 years. And I think that's the position that Republicans ought to take, that Obama is standing in the way of extending all of the Bush tax cuts and moving them forward. And if he doesn't want to extend all of the Bush tax cuts, it's President Obama who's standing in the way of continuing those tax policies. And what he's standing for is he wants to increase taxes. Let's make the message very, very plain. Obama's holding up extending the Bush tax cuts because he wants to increase taxes.
Yeah, I find it so interesting when I hear the president's latest political strategy is to try to turn John Boehner, the Republican leader in the House, into a boogeyman, that somehow John Boehner's holding it up. But in the House, the minority party can't really hold anything up.
We can't hold anything up. We valiantly try with our mighty band of 178, 179 members against the onslaught of 250 Democrats and Nancy Pelosi. But the bottom line is exactly that. We can't stop anything. The House is mob rule. You get 218 people to agree on anything. They can move their agenda forward. Nancy Pelosi has more than enough votes to move the Obama agenda forward. The bottom line is the Obama agenda, the Pelosi agenda, is in trouble with their own political party. And then you've got, Harry Reid now coming out and calling for amnesty, limited amnesty for illegal aliens. I mean, these guys are going off the deep end, and I think they see what's coming, and it's kind of like, we got to get as much done as we can before we're out of power. But it's...
I'm worried about the lame duck session and what might happen before the end of the year, especially if many of them lose. That's what's kind of scary to me.
And it should be, because... Again, there's a terrible policy coming out, the president, on this small business, quote-unquote, lending program or whatever. Why is the federal government picking out what businesses are going to have more access to capital than other businesses? But yesterday, again, we had a couple of Republicans who, went with the Democrats to break a filibuster on a bad bill. And that's where the lame duck gets very, very scary, because all they need to do is peel off one or two Republicans to break a filibuster, and once it gets through the Senate, anything and everything is clear sailing through the House of Representatives.
Yeah, then it's the law of the land. Congressman Pete Hoekstra of Western Michigan, looking forward to seeing you on Saturday, and thanks for joining us here on WLS.
Hey, great. Good talking to you. Thank you. Have a great day.